Welcome to yet another episode in the Corporate Diva series. Corporate Diva has been founded by Deepika Trehan and who is promoting sisterhood among women leaders. And Corporate Diva tribe is helping many women take up the leadership positions, and it is in turn helping other organizations. Likewise, Corporate Diva is making huge impact in the industry. Another episode, part of the Corporate Diva series, and just to repeat, entire March 2023 is dedicated to feature women leaders across the globe to commemorate Women's Day on March 8th, 2023. Let's get into the episode. Ramya works in the leading automotive industry as a global onboarding lead, a working mother, and she understands 5 local languages. She's learning classical dance and classical music, and she has hosted many events as MC, Master of Ceremony, and her few performances have been telecasted on local TV channels in Karnataka, India, and she is a diligent champion awardee from Corporate Diva Edition 4. And she has over 16 years of rich experience in human resources, and she brings a fresh perspective to the workplace, connecting with people and processes. So let's find more about her soon, and we are going to cover a topic, HR perspective on fostering women's growth in organizations. This is the Guiding Voice podcast series, the Guiding Voice for a Better Future. Friends, I am your host, Naveen Samala, just a fellow IT professional, but a passionate learner on a mission to make the world a better place to live. Through the Guiding Voice, we drive conversations that matter, conversations that add value to your life and to your career. Thank you so much for joining me. Ramya, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice, and super thrilled to host you.
Thank you, Naveen. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for the great introduction. Thank you to Deepika Trehan, who found us as a sisterhood to connecting us, and wishing all the viewers a happy International Women's Day and embrace the equality. Thank you.
Thank you, and pleasure to have you here. Let's get started, Ramya. So you have over 16 years of industry experience, right? So can you share key milestones in your career journey which actually help you reach where you are today?
Sure. As I mentioned, I have like 16 years of experience. There are many verticals within HR I have worked. And there are so many milestones that as part of my journey. And if I have to just cherry pick few, there are 3 important key milestones that I can recall right now. The first one is when I became a first-time people leader, handling a diversified team. It was such an enriching learning experience for me. As a people leader, you go through unknown territories, which is like, you don't know your first-time leader, and learn from those experiences to, grow yourself. Secondly, when I was awarded by the Corporate Diva as a diligent champion, this was such an important journey which helped me to self-introspect, self-care, and also learn various aspects from many other aspiring women from different industries. I also understood personal branding and cheering for self is a key treasure from this learning experience that I took away. Thirdly, when I got selected within my organization in a global role, an amazing experience. So these are close to my heart, and I always cherish those moments.
So you mentioned about personal branding, okay, which helped you, right? And in addition to that, are there any other things that attributed to your success so far? Maybe you can mention top 3 success mantra.
Sure. Believing in yourself, that's the simple as that. And when we have that unshakable trust in yourself, you can do anything, right? So that's what I would say to start with first. And secondly, I have no special talents. I'm only passionately curious, like Albert Einstein says. So I would say I'm passionately curious in everything I do. I have touched all aspects of HR. So I've always raised my hands. I want to do this experience, or I want to learn. Thirdly, a desire to improve. Can I make a difference? I always ask myself, don't just settle down for, rather than look for an opportunity to bring new perspective, innovation, or simple as that, what else I can do more, take it to the next level. So in a nutshell, I would say believe in myself, passionately curious, and a desire to improve are my stepping.
So desire to improve quite resonates with me because I'm a continuous improvement champion. And in fact, to be honest, our TGV platform itself, right, we have been improving on almost like episode to episode basis. You'll find at least 1% incremental improvement. And yeah, that's so important. And thanks for highlighting that. And Ramya, just based on your experience, right, I'm trying to bring in one important point, especially from the women's perspective, right? Does being a woman in your profession come with some extra mental challenges that you have to overcome, right? Maybe kind of imposter syndrome or any self doubt. Did you face that kind of thing anytime?
I would say, well, there are various levels of different professions go through different kind of pressures at the different points of in their career. It could be for any gender that matter, but when you ask specifically for a woman, yes, sometimes it does come with a little bit of pressure. It's always start with a self doubt, right? So can I do this role, or can I raise my hands to take up an additional assignment? Will I my family's support or not? Will I have that flexibility? So if one stop doubting on self, half the battle you win in the corporate segment, right? So it's important to believe on our own abilities and positive talk, which I always do. Whenever you feel like, okay, I don't think so it's going to happen, but you have to tell yourself, no, why did you pick up this one, right? So you need to overcome from these challenges by just trusting yourself and do some positive talks. That really helps, and it does for women specifically because the societal structure we are in India, it's often seems that we are like, no, you can't ask people easily questions, or you can't raise up your hand. So you have that mental structure within you, which sometimes makes you believe, okay, can I do this role, or is there any imposter syndrome? It does come often, but things are changing over the period of time, I would say, in the women's circles. I think it's important to believe in ourselves and positive talks.
And also, have you come across any bias in the workplace? And if so, maybe if you look at your professional or personal journey in the hindsight, what one thing you have changed to break the bias?
Okay, I would say there are many biases exist in the world, right? So as we are evolving over a period of time, we are also learning from these biases. One such thing in my personal journey, I would say, if they would have started teaching at the school level about inclusion, what biases that exist around, right? Talk about general neutral topics, or talk about general neutral subjects, which helps people to aspire about the profession that they can do. For example, it oftentimes it heard, oh, women cannot play football, but why not? So, right. So this happens when my daughter comes to me and asks, Mama, they are saying you can't play the football in one of my boy in the class. I'm like, no, not really true. So it all starts from this, the school in the starting level itself, to include those topics, which helps them to ask questions and say, to learn from those biases, right? In professional journey, I would say create a safe space to speak up, because oftentimes when biases are out or you're feeling biased, you don't speak up. So that's the first thing, which I think we need to create that safe zone to speak up. Don't judge people. One such story I would recall during my early days of when I was doing a job hunt after my college, and I was interviewed in one of the organization, and I did not clear. And in the final round, they told me that I've not got selected. So I was very curious, like, okay, tell me specific feedback where I can improve myself. And what shocking was, the interviewer told me I was confident, I did well in the questions, and everything was perfect, but they are not confident because they think I'm too young for the role.
Ah.
For me, it didn't seem right. And I just laughed and moved on. But I'm glad I did not join that organization. But I always wonder how biases exist in the world. And I think it's changing over the period of time. But those are the moments you're like, oh my God, how can that be a reason? Right. So
Does it really matter being young? As long as you're confident, as long as you are able to contribute to the organization, you are good, right? I don't know why people make those assumptions and all. In fact, I have also come across certain things personally, and it is applicable not just to women but across the board, right? it's ex- yeah, and then. See, let's talk about bringing more women to the industry because if we look at the statistics, right, not every organization has that 33% or beyond, right? Certain organizations are having, say, 15% women or maybe less than that, and few organizations are hiring for the sake of it, right? But overall, what can be done to engage more women to work in the industry?
Naveen, that's an excellent question, right? So, statistics says, as you're mentioning, and also I was reading through gender gaps. As per the World Economic Forum report, which was published for 2022, the gender parity in the labor force stands 62.9%. That means it may take 100 plus years to bridge that gap, which is really, really, really shocking, right? So we need to buckle up in all the industries to make sure we have women representation, in order to improve the ROI, which we know the data, it says, right? So I would divide into three segments, right? So one, there are a lot of people bringing new ideas in the industry last few years. So one of the example I would start with a STEM program: science, technology, engineering, and math. So these four fields share an emphasis on innovation, problem solving, and critical thinking. So many schools encourage these days to learn STEM programs, so it can be an attractive to kids and build interest towards these pillars. So start from at the school level. How do you bring a women workforce into the corporate or a different segment itself, right? And secondly, women who are in the workforce, how do you retain or how do you engage them? So they go through a lot of phases of life cycle, I would say. So prepare a policy which introduces to address those life cycle, give that flexibility or a benefits which can manage for both the genders. And in addition, show them that they are valued and you are invested in growing their skills and potential too. And thirdly, women after their career breaks, introduce a programs to re-enter, train them, and women are mentored and championed. They would definitely take up to all challenging roles that they can aspire. So it's very, very critical to touch all the streams to bring in one women to the workforce. Then how do you retain and who are going after the career break? How do you treat them and mentor them to be successful?
So it should start at the basic level and let the girls in the school know that, okay, there are excellent career opportunities and probably you can explore these opportunities. And likewise, and in addition to that, you brought in an important point about the career restart or the returnship. I think we need to spread more awareness on certain organizations which are already promoting these women returnship and all, but not everybody is aware. In fact, at TGV, we have started a program called TGV Career Restart, and we were able to place about 4 to 5 people by connecting them with right opportunities and all. One thing what I felt is they need some guidance, they need some direction where to go and all. All we have to look at is find find various organizations that are actually supporting this and all. So we were able to collate a list and publish it on our website as well. Like we have published it on our website, and many people are getting benefit. But we need to spread that word because many times what is happening is people are working, and maybe after a career break they think, okay, my career is done and all the doors are closed. But that is not true. That is not true, right?
Right.
So now let's talk about the women in the workplace. Like how can organizations support, okay, to make sure support women in their career growth and all? Because what we see is at the top, right? We have first of all the number of women in the workforce itself is very small, and as you move up the ladder, it gets scantier, right? So how what can organizations do in order to support women's growth?
Sure. One, I would say create inclusive culture, because oftentimes women feels that they are excluded for various reasons, right? So because one, they're coming from the career break, so they think they're not ready to take up the next level of roles because they had that career breaks. So I think create that inclusive culture, develop more women to as a plan structure to move them to the senior leadership role, mentor them, and make certain percentage as a mandatory to be in the board, so that you can really push the our ranking in the senior segments. The other one is, and the list can go on like this, there are many initiatives that we could do it. I would also encourage male allies to support and create that inclusive culture, and cheer them up when they get promoted or they did a good assignment, right? So I think celebrating small is also plays a lot in anybody who's re-entering the career, or even a woman who's working. So somebody around you is also cheering up. That makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ramya, what will be your advice to women themselves? Okay, how can they plan their career growth? What kind of actionable steps that they can take?
Okay, there are many things they can do it, right? So one needs to be ready to take up a challenging roles, right? I, as my individual, organization can give me number of opportunities, but I am ready for that or not. So that comes with self saying that I'm ready to take up that or not. Then they need to be flexible to stretch, as career some of the roles may demand you to stretch a little bit, so you need to be ready for that, right? And there will be ups and downs, but one should not give up, specifically after their maternity or a career breaks. Ask more work, raise your hands and ask questions, be ready to learn and also fail and win. So it's very, very important, because all these will teach us a lessons to grow. It never gets easier, but you just get better, I would say.
Yeah, I think these are excellent points and fabulous conversations so far. Ramya, let's add some spice to the episode. I'm going to kick off a quick rapid fire round with your consent so that our audience get to know the other side or personal side of you. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, hope so. I get good questions.
Yeah, definitely. Good questions are guaranteed. Okay, so let's move ahead and let me find the first one. Have you ever slept in a classroom or a critical meeting?
Classroom, yes.
And what did your teacher say?
My before my teacher says, my friend pinched me and said, "Hey, the class is going on." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I always remember that those moments. I'm like, "Oh my god, I slept in the class."
Moving to the next one. Just complete this sentence. My dream vacation is.
Kashmir.
Awesome. In fact, yeah, I think I owe a Kashmir trip to my wife as well. All right, moving to the next one. Can you describe yourself in just one word?
Optimistic.
Awesome. Moving ahead. Did you steal anything physical or materialistic from anyone?
No. Nothing I can recall.
Okay. How did you learn those?
Unless my daughter complains that anything I've stolen from her, I don't recall though.
Maybe kind of chocolates or something from your daughter?
No. No, I don't like chocolates, so
Okay.
I don't think that's
Yeah, because that's common thing that happens at my place, in my home. Like my wife and daughters, they are behind the chocolates and all. Moving to the next one. How did you learn those five languages and what are those languages, Ramya?
I didn't learn; it just happened, right? So you're in a cosmopolitan city, which is Bangalore.
Yeah.
So you get to interact on in your school days and your college days. You have language people around you, so you get to listen and watch movies. So one is the Kannada, which is my mother tongue, and Telugu, Tamil, Hindi. And Malayalam is another language which I kind of understand.
That's great. Wonderful. So here comes the last bullet out of the rapid fire. What is one electronic gadget that you like to invent or see?
Okay. I'm not an inventor, but I'm a user of an inventor. So maybe I would say a phone which has a feature which can clean the air surrounded by you, because everybody has a phone. So maybe that can be a good thing.
Wow, that's mind blowing. Actually, like a great idea. In fact, because we have nearly 5 billion devices on Earth, right? Yeah, you can imagine the kind of impact that is going to create. Wonderful. I think this is a great startup idea. So for those of the entrepreneurs that are listening to this episode, guys, I think you have a fantastic idea from Ramya here. Go grab
And
that.
I'll be the first consumer probably.
Good one. All right, so that was fabulous rapid fire, and let's flip back to the mainstream. And before I let you go, Ramya, one final question for today's conversation. What will be your advice to the younger women just entering the workforce today?
Okay, I would say be open minded, ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And also to start from the scratch and be ready to do repeated work. You can't just get away from that, right? So if you want to, move up the ladder. And remember, nothing worth having comes easy. So be ready to take a chance.
Nothing worth comes easy. Fabulous. Wonderful. So I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, Ramya. Thank you so much for being part of the Guiding Voice journey. And on this note, I would also thank Deepika Trehan once again for introducing me to you. And in fact, Neeraja Ganesh is the person who connected me to Deepika Trehan. So likewise, kudos to her as well. I'm enjoying this Corporate Diva series. So thank you so much once again for all the valuable insights, and thank you for spending your time.
Thank you, Naveen. It was pleasure talking to you, and hope it's going to help all the viewers in some or the other way. Thank you, everyone.
Definitely. So, Ramya, thank you so much. And friends, that was our episode with Ramya. And before we move into the trivia section, here is a request to you. In case if you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe now from the app wherever you have tuned in. Also, if you have loved this episode and found the conversation useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who can benefit from the Guiding Voice. Thanks in advance. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment. And today's trivia is about women entrepreneurs. Here are a few statistics about women entrepreneurs. About 17% of the startups have a female founder, and the number of venture funded companies with women at the helm has increased in the last 10 years, so which is a good sign. And I'm hoping more and more startups will have female founders in future. Currently, the data shows that these women led companies are hovering around approximately 17% of the market, and companies normally prosper with women leaders when companies have women in leadership positions. They often have higher stock returns and greater profits. And it is surprising then that only 5% of CEOs are women. Women are more successful in these roles because they view their careers holistically, approaching in a self reflective manner. Women run companies also perform better as per the S&P 500 list. And in fact, these companies perform 3 times better, garnering more returns than their male compatriot. And it is also speculated that women do so well because of how hard they had to work early on in their careers to become CEO. So, on this note, I would like to see more and more women founders, more and more women CEOs taking up those positions and adding value to the industry. And in case if you have come across any inspiring women leader, please share their profile with me. You can find me on social media by the name Naveen Samala, or you can also find the Guiding Words. That's all for today, guys. Thank you for joining me. And do not forget to share your topic recommendations or guest speaker suggestions through social media, or email me at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. I am your host Naveen Samala, just a fellow IT professional and a passionate learner on a mission to make the world a better place to live through the conversations that matter and conversations that add value to your life and to your career. Until next time, bye bye. See you all in the next episode with another Corporate Diva.